Hello, everybody. Welcome to MAWS Talks Wrestling. We are your hosts. I am LunaKage.
And I am Glenburg.
And we've had, well, at least for me, I've had a pretty eventful week as far as wrestling goes because, Raw and NXT were pretty much the lesser of the things that I was watching. I have actually been watching a lot of stuff on the network this week.
Me too.
Right now, I'm deciding to watch every pay per view from 2004, and because 2004 was when I first started actively watching. So it's like a real trip down like nostalgia lane when it's like, oh, I remember when that happened.
And then you get to catch what you missed during the period. That
Yeah,
you
because
missed.
because since it was the first time, when I first started watching wrestling, we didn't really buy all the pay-per-views, so
Right.
like I get to watch the pay-per-views, and then through their promos I get to see the stories play out that I remember, and it's pretty interesting. Plus, it's kind of allowing me to gain an appreciation for back in those days because, as I've
Hmm.
mentioned before, when I first got into it, I immediately started watching older tapes,
Right.
so I got to see the Attitude Era, and I was like, man, why can't it be more like this and whatnot? So, like, back then, I didn't really fully understand what made a good match, so I didn't appreciate most of the matches back in those days.
Right. Right.
So being able to rewatch them is kind of like, I'm like, oh yeah, that match was pretty good. Holy shit, stuff like that.
Right.
So
All the drama, storytelling,
yeah.
yeah, pacing.
So
Yeah.
I just got done watching Judgment Day 2004,
Oh yeah.
where the main event was Eddie Guerrero versus JBL for the WWE title.
Yeah.
It was the one where Eddie Guerrero ended up bleeding way too fucking much.
Was that the rope match, or did they have?
No, no, no.
I'm thinking about something
Uh,
else probably.
I'm relatively sure that happened at Great American Bash
Okay.
that same year. I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Either way, I think that was when Bradshaw actually won the title.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because like I had thought that he won it at Judgment Day, but after like a long ass fucking match, Eddie intentionally got himself disqualified to keep the title.
Uh huh.
So I think that will like go in history as like the only disqualification finish that fans weren't unhappy with. Because like, as far as main event matches go, because we got to see this long match, this good match, complete with like some really dramatic false finishes and shit, like
Yeah.
a fountain of blood with Eddie still just hanging on, like just all this shit happening where you're like sure Eddie's about to lose and then he doesn't,
It's like win at any
But then
cost.
right, but then JBL tries to use the belt, then Eddie gets the belt from him, and then right in front of the ref he just nails him with the belt.
Uh huh.
Like at that point, like a weight kind of lifts off everyone's shoulders. Like, oh, Eddie lost, but he kept the belt. Awesome,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting finish too.
plus it fits with Eddie's like kind of credo. Lie, cheat,
We
steal.
lie, we cheat, we steal.
Yeah. So I guess we should probably start talking about what happened on Raw this past week.
I guess before that, I just want to say I've been looking at a lot of the network too this week. I've been looking at some of the old school matches like 93 Raw and all that.
Oh yeah.
They had hell of a lot of gimmicks back then that you don't see today, but
Yeah.
it was
The
still,
old school stuff.
yeah, it was still good entertainment, and see Vince McMahon on a commentary booth is pretty funny.
That motherfucker, like when you listen to Vince McMahon, how he commentates a match, you kind of see exactly where Michael Cole gets it.
Right?
Because Vince McMahon is probably one of the worst commentators in the business. It's like he didn't know any move names. Every time somebody landed a move, he's like, "What a maneuver!" And that was it. It's just like listening to Michael Cole, hearing vintage Shawn Michaels like
Right.
over and over again.
That overrides him doing a move.
Right, right. Like, fucking. I'm sure, maybe not Vince, but I'm sure I'm sure Michael Cole knows move names, but the commentary is restricted a lot nowadays because Vince McMahon is in their ear a lot of the time.
Don't say it.
Right, like he wants it to be more entertainment based. So most of the time, when we hear a move name, it's going to be the name of the finishing move that was used or something like that.
Don't.
Or else we'll hear generic move names like, oh, roll up, even though it's a schoolboy,
Right.
schoolboy pin,
Don't discourage the fans, right?
or a jackknife pin. They'll probably still call that a roll up or something, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's one of the things that he's trying to distance himself from wrestling from, because it's like, well, the less of these moves that we actually give a scientific name for, the more that, the less will look like wrestling company or something. I don't know.
And
I don't understand it.
more of an entertainment brand, I see.
Right. Hell, I don't understand it.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting too. Like I don't know why they exactly do that. Probably to not discourage the fans from keeping up with it, because sometimes new people will get into WWE and they might not understand Japanese move names or whatnot.
Well, I mean, you don't necessarily have to say the Japanese move
Well, that
names.
was
Like,
just an example. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's really no reason to do it because, like, back in the days where more people watched was back when the announcers actually said move names like
Right.
100% of the time. So
Right. That's true. Let me see. And also just one other thing, and they had the WrestleMania Rewind, like watching Hogan versus Rock again from WrestleMania 18 was pretty nice.
yeah.
That was one of the WrestleManias I remember the most.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I
I'm
when I first
I'm
started
basically
really watching tapes.
yeah. I'm basically gonna watch 2004 up until WrestleMania 21.
Mm.
Because like the way I see it, 2004 was a very transitional year. Honestly, the entirety of like 2001 to 2000, well, the WrestleMania 21 was really like a transitional time period because it was the point where we didn't really have, or rather, they were phasing out The Rock and Stone Cold. Like, those were the guys.
Right.
And, The Rock was getting ready to head out into his movie career, and Stone Cold was retiring. So, like, 2001 obviously still featured them heavily, but it was also the beginning of the whole WCW merger.
Uh-huh.
And then the brand split like followed soon after. So it's like, they were trying new stuff, and then along with this new stuff they were trying, slowly their two biggest stars were leaving. So they had to fill that gap, and then they decided to fill it with Brock Lesnar, and really that's it. Like, they filled it with Brock Lesnar and kept a lot of the main event guys that were still around in the main event, like Undertaker and Kurt Angle and stuff.
Right.
But they still weren't The Rock and Stone Cold, So we had a lot of champions that were just kind of winning, and yeah, the fans were behind them because they were still fan favorites.
Right.
Like and then we had the Reign of Terror from Triple H and stuff because he was still around, but
Yeah.
he was like the only guy at that level, I guess, from the Attitude Era to still kind of exist. So he got to hold the world title for a while.
Like,
Then we got the two world titles, and
then eventually undisputed.
right. So basically, the reason why I call it transition period is WrestleMania 21 was the beginning of, I guess you could call it. I want to call it the end of the Ruthless Aggression era, and the reason why is because when I think of Ruthless Aggression, I kind of think of like, Brock Lesnar, pretty much. Even though John Cena was kind of the one that coined the phrase, I think.
Yeah.
But
He was a child,
like,
one of the children of ruthless aggression.
right, but like it was a very short period, and when John Cena finally won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21, and then Batista won the World Championship on the same same show.
Uh huh.
Like it was like a changing of the guard kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But and it kind of skyrocketed those people that we were going to see in the main event for a long time. Like it wasn't the PG era yet because it still wasn't PG, but it was the beginning of the John Cena era, I guess you could say.
Right.
Because his era encompasses ruthless aggression along with fucking the PG era and shit.
It was
And then
like the bridge between both of them during that time.
yeah, so it's like watching the last year before the John Cena era began, like, is really interesting because you got these guys in the main event that you would have never expected to be in the main event otherwise, like Eddie Guerrero being champion and then fucking Bradshaw being champion. What else happened in 2004? Randy Orton, like watching his Intercontinental title reign was ridiculous because that was when the Intercontinental title meant something.
Mm-hmm.
And even John Cena's reign as the United States champion made the U.S. title kind of feel like it meant something. Like,
It was a fun time.
yeah, tag team title still didn't mean shit though. This was when the tag titles were
When they had,
really starting to lose their luster.
is that when they had the Raw and SmackDown ones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they had two tag team divisions.
Yeah.
Neither one really meant that much, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
And it was when because of the brand split, like most of the pay-per-views were either for Raw or for SmackDown, but then you had pay-per-views like SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series,
Right.
and WrestleMania, which were for both brands and stuff.
Right.
It added a little bit more importance to the Big Four because that was a show you were going to see both rosters compete on.
Right. Right.
So it's a very interesting time.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Nice little history lesson. But yeah, I guess we should transition into Raw.
Okay, transition into stuff that's actually current.
Right. So
Yep.
I guess yeah, Evolution came out looking sharp, in their business casual, and
Right.
had a promo with the Shield, promoting Extreme Rules, and I thought it was pretty hilarious when 11 dudes came up behind Evolution when the Shield was about to try to fight them.
Right. I saw this image on and it said like it was a picture of Triple H. That's that image macro where it's like a really old timey looking dude and it says good luck, I'm behind 7 proxies. This image had Triple H on it. It was like good luck, I'm behind 7 mid carders.
The mid card to like the pawns and then the king is being protected.
Right. Yeah, I got a chuckle out of it. So yeah, we're going to see Evolution versus the Shield. I really liked that the Shield got some promo time, and they actually sounded really cool in my opinion.
Right. Gonna hammer the nail home and stuff,
Yeah, like I like that each of the 3 actually got to talk, like and Dean Ambrose, like it's so funny listening to him. His promo style reminds me a lot of Heath Ledger's Joker almost.
Yeah.
He even has like the lip smacking thing that he does.
Right.
Like this motherfucker could easily be in the next Batman movie if they ever want to bring back that Joker.
He does have a good promo for his character.
Yeah, he does. Like the what they call him, the lunatic fringe of the Shield or something. It's kind of interesting. I wonder if he takes that as an insult. Like he ever shanks fucking Michael Cole in the back. Like, what do you call me?
Keep walking.
Right.
Shank.
Much.
Let me see. Besides that, they went back to classic vintage Kane with the mask and everything. And
Well, I wouldn't call it vintage. It was the 2012 Mask Kane.
yeah, I guess I said that because he had the mask on.
Right. So he pile drives Daniel Bryan once on the outside, once on the steps, and then one more time on the announce table, which doesn't break.
I mean, it hurts more his skull cracked, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Um, and basically, from what I hear, the reason why they did this is basically to give Daniel Bryan the rest of the night off because his father died like the day before that. So
Hmm.
it's kind of fucked up, man. Like, now I can say that I have something in common with Daniel Bryan. We both lost our fathers in 2014.
Yeah, that's terrible, man.
Yep, it's
Because
fucked up.
deaths are really unexpected. Like everything could be going right one day and then boom, out of the blue. You know?
Right. Like, I didn't get to see it because, like, I got home a little late. But from what I heard from people on the web, was that Daniel Bryan was a little bit teary-eyed during that segment.
Right.
And if he was, I could totally understand, but I didn't see it, so I can't really verify. I just saw the replays that played throughout the rest of the show that they wanted to let us see like 45 times. So, oh, look how Daniel Bryan gets his skull cracked in. Oh, look how this happens right here now again. Oh, man.
Right.
Oh, guys, isn't it so messed up? Oh, let's watch it again. It's like fucking Michael Cole has some kind of fetish for watching guys get their skulls crushed and shit.
Yeah, I can see him doing that too. But it is kind of rough trying to hold back emotion while shooting a promo live.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like
Yeah.
when your dad just died.
Not
Like, shit.
not breaking kayfabe either. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then having to yes.
Oh man, hell no. And then
I mean,
and you're the champion and you're a face too.
right, and it sucks so bad because like this happened right after his wedding. Like, jeez, this is gonna be such a at least he's never gonna forget his wedding anniversary. Like, he's never gonna worry about that. He's gonna be
Right.
like, man, it's getting close to the time where my dad died. Oh shit, I gotta get something for Bree. You know?
Man. Right, right. Like that's
Yeah.
something I just hope, he can bounce back from it because I know it does take time and that is rough taking a loss, especially from an immediate family member,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
So I guess we really are gonna get Kane versus Daniel Bryan at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, like
I thought
yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna be a title match. I just thought it was gonna be a match.
I figured that would happen anyway because of the evolution business unless they just had they weren't going to have a mid-card fight Daniel Bryan.
Well, I mean, Kane is a mid Carter though.
I guess
He
he's
is now
like
at least.
the way they put him, he can be a main event just because he's in the authority. So
But here's the thing though. Like it kind of brings up what I was talking about last week. Evolution versus the Shield. It has to be the main event. But if it is the main event, then that means you're going to have the title match be in the mid card, which is always terrible.
that sucks. I hate when that happens, like the fifth match or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't have Evolution versus the Shield in the main event, for one, that's just kind of dumb, and for two, the main event match isn't going to be super good. I mean, it's not like Kane is terrible or anything, and we all know Daniel Bryan's good, but we've seen this match so many times, and realistically, everyone knows that Kane's not going to win that title.
Let me a quick question. You remember when Cena fought Ryback at Payback for the title?
Yeah.
Was that in the main event or that was like a mid-card title match?
Dude, it's John Cena. It was the main event.
Right, right. I guess, yeah.
The only time John Cena's not guaranteed to be in the main event, especially when it's a title on the line, back in those days, was when it was the Royal Rumble.
Right.
And, so...
I see your point.
I mean, we John Cena versus fucking John Laurinaitis, a non-wrestler, was the main event of a pay-per-view, so of course...
That cage match.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, not having the title in the main event, does kind of undercut it a little bit now that it is the main title.
And that's technically
But,
Bryan's first major defense.
Yeah. Like, I'm just kind of worried that it's going to go the way of the CM Punk title reign,
Oh, I
Like
see.
just have like maybe Daniel Bryan's not in the main events, like the Shield is now in all the main events.
Right,
But at least then it would go to the Shield, so I wouldn't hate too hard on it.
right, right. Yeah, I just hope he's not just fighting anybody. Like, oh my God, Christian's trying to get for the World
Yeah,
Heavyweight Championship.
it's like Over the Limit 2014, fucking Daniel Bryan versus Christian
He grew out his
in
hair.
in the opening match.
Uh-uh.
The main event being Dean Ambrose versus Randy Orton.
Like he beats Christian in 18 seconds in the first match or something.
And then the next pay per view, Daniel Bryan defends his title against Christian again because they always got to have twice. And
Oh
then like
God.
it's fucking, what do you call it? Seth Rollins versus Batista in the main event. And of course Batista loses, but he needs to get hit by like every member of the Shield's finisher while the referee's out. And then that's how he lets a guy like Seth Rollins go over. And then SummerSlam, we have Triple H versus Roman Reigns in the main event. And in the opening match, we have Daniel Bryan versus Mark Henry and Mae Young's hand as a child.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it gets a title shot. It comes back.
I remember that hand.
I always used to think that the hand grew up to become the fist from SmackDown.
I remember you telling me that too. It's so mighty. Look how much it's matured.
Right. The big black fist of power.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
Let me see. So then, I think the next match was a mid card match, but I kind of want to talk.
Obviously.
I kind of want to talk about Cesaro versus RVD. First of all, I love
Yeah.
Cesaro's new entrance theme.
Yeah. I heard it, and I didn't really. I don't really have an opinion on it. Like it's gonna take me a little bit. Like it might grow on me,
Right.
but upon first listen, it didn't really hit me. So I guess we'll have to see. I've heard a lot of mixed reactions about it on the internet. Some people love it, some people hate it. A lot of people hate it, but that's because people that hate stuff are normally the most vocal about it. But yeah, it might take a second to grow on me.
I guess if you like electronic music, maybe that, or you don't like it, that probably plays into it too.
Yeah. Um,
It's different, at least it sounds like it'd be memorable over time.
Maybe over time. Like I said, it might. I'm gonna have to hear it a few times. Speaking of Cesaro match, though, it took me by surprise that Cesaro actually did not win. He didn't. He didn't even make it to the finals.
Yeah.
And I had picked him to win the whole thing. RVD went over, and then in the Barrett versus Sheamus match, Wade Barrett went over, and he did it clean, and it's cool. I think it's cool that with Wade Barrett, Bad News Barrett, and Cesaro, we got two heels with appeal.
Right, yeah.
And they are that, I think, in the strictest sense. Because how long has it been since you've heard Bad News Barrett or Cesaro talk shit about the crowd?
Hmm.
Like a long time. Maybe not a long time, but most of the time, you put a mic in Wade Barrett's hand, he'll talk shit about his opponent. So it's almost as if we got the tweeners of 2014 going on right now, because like both of these guys, they rally the crowd and shit. Like when Wade Barrett comes in, he's all excited, he's getting pumped, he's trying to get the crowd to be on his side, and he's supposed to be a heel, And Cesaro, whenever you see him go for the swing, he's looking around towards the audience like, "Hey, you want me to swing this guy?
It's
You want me to do it? You want me to do it? I'll do it."
it's like heel is
And
the new face almost, because
almost.
sometimes when you're a little bit two-faced, people get tired of that.
I mean, there's that, but like some people, there's a lot of people that have been saying that. But if you think about it, the two biggest stars of one of the most, if not the most popular era of wrestling, were both characters like that, though. Like The Rock and Stone Cold.
Right.
You look at them, they're just like that. Stone Cold didn't show any face qualities.
Exactly.
He was a heel that people cheered for. That was it.
People,
That's what Stone Cold was.
it's
He
like
was
they
like
like the edgy wrestler, you know.
right. He was like the only time he really rallied the crowd is when he was talking to the crowd. He never talked shit about the crowd, but he was always like if you want Stone Cold to kick some ass, give me a hell yeah, and then people would shout hell yeah. And then The Rock, like, he was the same way. He'd insult his opponents, whether or not they be babyface or heel, but then he'd get the crowd involved in a way that they liked, and that's all it took.
It almost seems like a fan favorite consists of face with heel qualities.
I mean, look at John Cena. Back when he was first starting to get over as a babyface, he was still pretty much a heel. Like,
Right.
He was thugonomics, he was talking shit, he had these raps that were pretty much just derogatory and putting down his opponent. And, the fans loved him because he had catchphrases that they could say.
Yeah.
And when he started getting that divide of people, that was when his character got watered down and he stopped showing heel traits. He was a full-blown babyface, like doing things like respecting his opponent. And nowadays, the only time he insults his opponent is when he makes, little fucking PG jokes.
Right, like kidding.
Right, stuff like that.
I think there's been a lot of great heels that had the fans on the side, like Razor Ramon, for example.
Yeah.
Everyone loved him.
Right. So I'm kind of digging the new like if they actually exploit that and make Wade Barrett like a Stone Cold style face, like I say that basically, meaning a heel in alignment, but still a fan favorite.
Because what they're doing with Cesaro, he's obviously teamed with a heel manager, but people kind of see, is he a face? Is he a heel? But, it almost seemed like, that reminds me when CM Punk was starting to become face and they made him ditch Heyman because he was turning face.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even look at CM Punk's rise to fame. Fucking, he got over big time. Like he was good in the ring, obviously, and people loved that. But like he started getting over big time when he cut that pipe bomb promo. And he did that when he was a heel. Like he was a full blown heel, and he was a heel all throughout that feud, with the exception of the fact that John Cena actually gave him props.
True.
So that was like the start of his babyface run when he was still technically by alignment a tweener.
It's like showing heel qualities kind of proves to the fans that you got a little something extra.
Well, the thing about it is that heel characters, the reason why they're getting over as like getting cheered like as fan favorites is because with heels you get to show your personality a lot more.
That's true. Like I'm tired of being held back by this person. I'm doing what I'm doing, type of stuff. And
like just in general, like as a baby face, there's really only like 3 types of baby faces. The kind that are hype, they're loud, they walk around, they're like, yeah, let's do this shit. Then there's the faces that pretty much go out there and they're just all around nice guys. Maybe they're funny and they talk a little bit, maybe. Like I think of Mick Foley as that kind of guy. Like, when he was a baby face, he was just a nice dude. The only time he really got angry was when he was dealing with the heels, which is when you're supposed to. But and then you got the comedy baby face, and we see how that goes.
Yeah.
But like
people like Kofi Kingston, the neutral face, or he's happy with everyone. Then in a comedy one like Santino.
Right. I mean, it's not like I dislike baby faces. I like it a lot more when my favorites are baby faces, just on the sense alone, because I like it when I'm supposed to like somebody that I already like.
Yeah.
As stupid as that might seem, but I'm still a mark at heart, damn it,
So I wonder what's holding Titus O'Neil back.
He's black.
It's hard. There are a lot of gimmicks as black wrestlers that it's hard to break. He's either a hip hop star or he dances or some
like
shit
the
like
thing.
that.
The thing about it is that they really fucked up by separating those guys and turning one heel, because they had They had the millions of dollars dance. Are you kidding me? That shit was awesome.
That was actually memorable and funny.
Like, and like the thing about Titus O'Neil, Titus again. Like I'm never gonna not call him Titus. The thing about Titus O'Neil is that he's still got personality. Like he showed personality as a face, so he didn't need to turn heel.
Mm-hmm.
He was showing a personality as a baby face, so people liked him for it. Just genuinely.
He still did a lot of the stuff like blowing the whistle, calling people out when he was a face too.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the barking, like the fans did that with him, and I think the fans still do it with him.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I think turning him heel and breaking those guys up was a bad move. Because they haven't done anything with either of them since then. And to be fair, they weren't really doing anything with them before that. But at least if they were still a tag team, you could have, like, put them in the tag team matches, Like, I guess we're finally starting to see dissension between Cody Rhodes and Goldust.
Oh, yeah, that walkout when he lost against...
Yeah. Did you like that seamless transition that I just did?
Yeah. Right.
Seamless, except I pointed it out.
Right. Look at what I did. Why was so good.
Right. So we're probably going to get a breakup between those two. I really wish it would have happened at WrestleMania, but I guess like a SummerSlam match would be cool too.
Uh-huh.
Like assuming that it's going to be Goldust's last match. What I want to happen is like when they have their feud, they split up. Maybe not even have them be heels. Like none of them change. None of them change alignment. They're both still like baby faces, but they have like a serious brotherly dispute and it gets out of hand. Like neither of them, and you could do this by like. Both of them like slowly building up to doing more angry shit, like bad shit to each other. Because if you notice, like, what was it? What was it? Cody, the first one to start getting pissed off.
Yeah, because I'm surprised it was suppressed that long because they've had some goofy losses before too.
Yeah. So like. Cody got pissed off, so his brother tried to console him, and he pushed him away. And then I'm pretty sure that happened, like switched around with Goldust. So they're both starting to show that they're pretty pissed off about their situation. And instead of either one of them like flat out turning heel and attacking the other,
right?
Like just have them like legitimately get into a brawl with each other. Like maybe they lose another match. Either right after or maybe during the pay-per-view before SummerSlam.
Right.
And have them get into a brawl after losing the match by, like, starting off with, they lose the match. Maybe Goldust tries to console Cody again. Cody pushes him away. Goldust kind of gets, a little snappy, so he kind of pushes him back. So they start pushing each other and then brawling. At that point, like, neither one of them has turned. It's not like one of them, attacked the other and then, like, laid a beat down. They're just kind of, fighting.
Like brothers, yeah.
Right. So throughout the month leading up to SummerSlam, you get the build up where each of them get to cut a promo about being frustrated. Like Cody, he's frustrated that he's constantly living in the shadow of his brother, even though that's not true because fucking Goldust never went anywhere either. But I mean, Goldust is still iconic, though. Like, a lot of people know who Goldust is. But anyway,
right.
That doesn't make a difference. You have Cody be, the younger brother who's upset about Goldust. And his recent, Goldust return was met with a lot of fanfare. Like, people loving that Goldust can still go in the ring and stuff like that. So
right.
He could bring up that. And then, like, Goldust being pissed off. Both of them are pretty much cutting heel promos on each other. Neither one of them are, a clear-cut heel or face. They're just kind of, having a brotherly dispute, and then it all culminates, like they say they finally make a match for SummerSlam. It's not a cage match or anything like that because it's not that deep. It's just a one-on-one match. Give those guys enough time to actually put on a good match.
Right.
And then at the end of it, have Cody go over, have Cody win, clean, obviously.
Uh-huh.
And, after that, since, assuming that they have a war, They're both like kind of spent. So, basically in what was Goldust's last match, like they share a brotherly hug and stuff and kind of make up because they got all their frustrations out,
Uh-huh.
in the ring. And then that would be Goldust's exit from the active roster. I think, like, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, he had a good run. I mean, coming back,
Yeah,
so I'd be fine with it too.
yeah. I mean, they need to do something because Cody Rhodes and Goldust haven't really been doing anything since they lost the titles.
Hmm.
So I think this would be a good way. I just want it to happen at SummerSlam instead of fucking a B pay-per-view.
I guess they didn't want to really rush them
Right.
into a few, like they just threw it together.
Yeah. And we mentioned earlier Cesaro. He didn't win, but he lost due to more or less interference by Jack Swagger.
Yeah,
So basically, I'm like, oh, so maybe they're building up Jack Swagger versus
likely.
Cesaro at SummerSlam. I mean, not SummerSlam, Extreme Rules. But then we find out that match is going to happen on SmackDown. What? Like, so what was the point of this? Like, and I mean, I'm still kind of waiting because feuds very rarely last one match, but this is going to be their second match against each other now.
Yeah, because the first one was on the one Raw after he had the trophy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're going to have a cage match at Extreme Rules.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they'll have a submission match, which is supposed to favor the heel in this case because Jack Swagger's the only one with a submission hold.
Right.
But if they do have a match at the pay-per-view, then it's got to be a stipulation match. What I'm expecting might happen, though, is that maybe it won't be Cesaro versus Swagger. Maybe it'll be RVD versus Cesaro. Because if you notice, like backstage after that match, they were kind of talking shit to each other and stuff.
Oh.
So maybe they're kind of building to a little match between those two. Like I figure maybe next week on Raw, it's Bad News Barrett versus RVD.
Comes out,
and maybe,
interferes or something.
yeah, maybe Cesaro comes out and causes RVD to lose this time, and then they set up a match for the pay-per-view.
I can see Paul Heyman encouraging that too.
Yeah. It'll be the current Heyman guy versus one of the oldest Heyman guys.
Yeah, and RVD just came back, and he might as well compete in a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, if you think about it, RVD's, like, whole thing nowadays is to put over the newer guys, like, that's what they bring back guys like RVD and Jericho for. Like, they want to have,
Right.
they want guys like that with experience, with actual legacies and stuff,
Right.
to come back and have good matches with the rising stars, but still put them over,
Right.
And, I mean, I think that'd be cool,
I guess that pays a lot to put someone over too if you're already an established, great in the wrestling world.
Because, like, RVD is always going to be RVD, so he doesn't have to worry about losing, really.
Right. It's not like he has to defend his legacy every time he gets in a ring.
Right.
Yeah.
Not like John Cena.
Right. I must be face forever.
Right. And talk about another seamless transition. Bray Wyatt comes out and he cuts his promo.
Uh-huh.
His promo was good. It's a Bray Wyatt promo.
Right.
I wish I could remember the points that he made, but I'm really bad at shit like this.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to the main event, which ended up being the main event, John Cena main eventing Raw again. Holy shit! Feels like it's been so long. So we got John Cena versus. It was a vote to decide who John Cena's opponent was going to be. Either it was going to be Luke Harper, or it was going to be Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, or it was going to be all three members of the Wyatt family.
I saw that comment, that troll
Yeah.
with the fans. Oh, let's put them against all three. Super Cena.
Fucking it was a landslide, like 56% or something, and like it was amazing because like I think John Cena is done the best work of his life in that one small amount of time after he found out what the vote was. Because, like, if you notice, before they cut to commercial, after the vote was, like, counted,
Uh-huh.
you see John Cena just kind of looking out into the crowd, like, with a bewildered look on his face that was kind of like, man, you guys kind of fucked me over. Like, you just felt the betrayal. You just felt it. And, like,
Can I get
that's...
Can I get a heel turn? As Cena would have said one time.
Can a brother get a heel turn?
Right? That was funny as hell.
Fucking... So I really like what they're doing here. Like, that's one of the things that Bray was talking about, I think, if I remember correctly. How the fans, will turn on him or something. And, I mean, they fucking turned on him all right. And John Cena looked so upset. He just
That's
looked
interesting.
fucking...
That's interesting how they intertwine social media with that storyline that way,
Yeah.
and that makes it even more believable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like when
So-
he had Bray Wyatt has the people singing the song to yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I can't remember how the match ended. Wasn't it a no contest, I think?
Yeah, they just said screw it, the referee rung the bell, and then he did the whole world concert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I wonder how they're going to take it home next week. Isn't next week the last episode of Raw before Extreme Rules?
I believe so, because it was like 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should be, yeah. Extreme.
You know what? Today's Wednesday. Did you know that TNA's got a pay-per-view coming up this Sunday?
I really didn't, actually.
It's kind of fucked up how, like, low on our radar TNA is now. Like, we were trying to cover it at first, but now it's like, I think it's because of WrestleMania season and then the post-WrestleMania season. It's a little, it's like TNA's taking a big backseat right now.
I do remember Eric Young defended at a Monsters Ball, but
Yeah.
I don't.
Did he win?
He did win.
Okay.
Again,
Yeah, so-
he fought Abyss. Yeah.
So I'm going to be watching Sacrifice, which is what it is. I mean, normally at this point we'd give our predictions, but like I haven't seen TNA in so long, so I couldn't even tell you the card, let alone predictions.
It's probably gonna be matches added the day of too,
I'm sure.
because they do that a lot,
Like, if there's one thing, because what was it, Lockdown? This last pay-per-view, yeah. Lockdown was not bad.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Lockdown, so
I think
you know.
I think they excel in spontaneous wrestling. Like, let's throw together a random match. You didn't know what's happening. From Japan, from Mexico.
Right. Right. So I guess we'll see. Like,
Uh,
it doesn't help that TNA's kind of losing a lot of the guys that I pretty much only watch TNA for, like AJ Styles. Christopher Daniels is gone now.
yeah, wow. Yeah, I heard about that too.
Yeah. Not like they ever used him for anything of importance. But,
They got
Christopher Daniels is gone. Chris Sabin is gone.
yeah. Right now, AJ Styles been in Japan doing things.
Yeah. Yep, AJ Styles still making a living for himself, so
Right.
I'm sure he's getting pretty decent money from it too. I mean, sure it's the Indies, but AJ Styles is kind of a bigger name now. Like, after being on a main wrestling show, even though it's TNA, he was still a world champion on a national television show.
You think he'll find his way to WWE at some point?
I don't know. I'd like to think so in one way, shape, or form. Maybe not necessarily as a talent, because, like, he's already up there in age. Like, but then again, like, how old is he now? He's like,
I think he's in
mid
30s.
Yeah, I know he's in his 30s, but how old 30s? Because I know Cesaro's in his
30,
30s too.
36.
36, so he's actually up there. Yeah, so it might be too late for him as far as to, like, actually get something going, but I mean, you never know. I mean, Sami Zayn, I think he's pretty old too, isn't he? Like in his mid-30s as well.
He
I think I looked it up at one point.
29 actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that guy looks so old.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know what it is, but he just kind of looks older to me.
Yeah,
Oh damn.
is it the beard?
The beard might help. I think it's his body. It kind of looks like it's a little bit older.
Right.
Like I know that's kind of a fucked up thing to say, but like when I look at his body, I'm like, that looks like he's a really in shape 45-year old. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I knew he wasn't that old, but that's just
Yeah.
kind of what it looked like to me.
So something kind of like random off topic, but kind of related. It's interesting, right? It's interesting how WWE acknowledges Ring of Honor more, especially like last year than ever.
Yeah, I mean, like, shit, you get all you need is like AJ Styles and like fucking Colt Cabana and have Punk come back, and then you had like some of the biggest names in Ring of Honor during one of the biggest times of Ring of Honor in your company. So I mean, you might as well.
Those are the
What I'm
people that's been pushing WWE lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping that at some point WWE actually buys Ring of Honor and TNA and just adds their shit to the network. Like I would love the fuck out of that.
Oh man, all the Ring of Honor pay-per-views.
Yeah,
Oh,
hell
it's
yeah,
on
man.
TNA. Damn, that'd be
I
hype.
mean, yeah, they're gonna want more stuff for the network. Like so I could see them buying wrestling companies just to get their shit on the network. Like they might not even necessarily use the talent. They might say, "All right, we're gonna buy Ring of Honor, and we'll take you, you, and you. The rest of you guys are fired." And then just put the library on the network, and then call it a day.
Hmm. I wonder. So they've been getting a lot of people from Ring of Honor, and when I heard last time about the American Wolves, like they did a really bad botch in one match, and Triple H didn't like that, so
Yeah.
they didn't end up going to WWE. So that's why they're in TNA right now.
Right. Yep. I mean, things happen.
Yeah.
Like the Wolves are a pretty good tag team, but I mean they look really generic.
That
Like
that that's
they
my
don't
that's my
really.
thing about them too, cause I see them all the time. It reminds me of two Evan Bournes or something like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Like they don't really. They don't really jump out at me. Like they're both clean cut looking dudes with like gelled hair.
Yeah.
Like shit, grow out a beard.
Come on.
have a Daniel Bryan tag team walking around.
Right. That's another thing. Daniel Bryan broke that mold of the clean cut world
Yeah.
champion because he has the big ass beard.
I mean, technically, Stone Cold broke that mold. Like he's far
Right.
from clean cut.
Right. Right.
Uh, Triple H was technically far from clean cut back when he was champion all the time. Except for when he had his reign of terror. He was shaven, looked like he was 14, except really built.
14 really built.
All right, he was a 14-year-old linebacker.
Yeah, I guess when you look at it that way, yeah, everyone.
Like Triple H just doesn't look nearly as good without the little stubble that he normally has.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't necessarily need the full goatee, but he at least needs to have some facial hair, or else it looks just weird.
That was an interesting time when Triple H had the full beard around his face. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I think I was one of the people that were hurt the most when Triple H cut his hair. Cause like fucking whenever he came out like in his suit and he had his hair up in a ponytail and shit, I was like, oh man, that's exactly how I want my hair to look.
Right.
And then he shaved it off, and I'm like, oh, oh well.
Shaving his hair was best for business.
That reminds me too. I thought about this. I was thinking back on it.
Uh-huh.
In the build up to Arrival, Triple H made numerous appearances on NXT,
Right, right.
and he was a babyface.
Mm.
He was a babyface corporate figure,
They loved him
authority
and
figure.
Stephanie for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they still booed Stephanie because Stephanie is such an effective heel.
Yeah.
she's booed before you even know she's gonna say something heelish.
Don't do it, Kane. No,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. But so yeah, like Triple H comes out, and this was in the build up to Cesaro versus Sami Zayn, like when they were gonna actually put it on Arrival,
Yeah.
and like before Triple H actually made the announcement that was totally gonna happen, like the fans started chanting "Best for Business," clap, 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 clap,
Right.
and it just made me think, dude, since turning heel. Now, when he finally does turn back face as a face authority figure, he's going to be like better than he was before. Just because now he actually does have like catchphrases that he can use,
Right.
like as an authority figure. That whole best for business thing, yeah, it sucks now because when he's saying it in a way that means, we fucked you over because it's best for business.
Yeah, but
But
then
when he
when he's a face, it'll be T-shirts worn by everyone.
oh, definitely, like there will be a best for business Triple H T-shirt, like fucking he'll come out like when Roman Reigns, let's assume like Roman Reigns is the champion at the time because it might take a while.
All right.
Roman Reigns, he's the champion, and like he's trying to fight. Fuck, who is it? Let's just say Dean Ambrose. Let's just put those two in the main event. So they've been feuding over the title and shit, but Dean Ambrose fucking keeps getting himself disqualified because he's the champion. I'm just gonna say he's the champion. I'm switching around.
Uh-huh.
So then Triple H comes out and he's like, I'm gonna put you guys in a 15-foot high. Fans start cheering. Steel cage, because that is best for business. And then fucking, everyone starts going wild, and the best for business chants start up.
Uh-huh.
And, I think it'd be effective. I kind of can't wait for that, to be honest.
Yeah, people love catchphrases like boots to asses and stuff.
Oh yeah, catchphrases are huge. Like, you got a catchphrase, you'll get over.
Uh-huh.
And now that Triple H is the authority figure, has one, he's gonna be even better as an authority figure when he does turn face.
Right.
And I mean, let's be honest, it's gonna happen. Like, Triple H is a really effective heel, but eventually he's gonna turn back face again.
Yeah. He works
Like
he works well in both angles.
Yeah. So, I guess it's going to be funny to see the hypocriticalness because, when he does turn face again, he's going to be siding with Daniel Bryan again.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, looking towards it in the future is just so weird because he's going to be saying now that Daniel Bryan being the champion will be best for business. It's like, damn, I remember that whole year worth of time where you said the exact opposite.
Right. So, what about with Stephanie?
I like Stephanie.
No, I mean, like, because they kind of market them as a pair, as a heel pair, So do you think she'd carry over to being a face, or she would just kind of go behind the scenes or something?
I mean, well, she could go behind the scenes. Maybe she'll turn face too, or maybe they'll actually have an authority figure feud. Like, maybe that's why Triple H turns face, is because Stephanie's starting to be a little bit too much of a bitch. Who knows?
If the stipulation, if you lose, you sleep on the couch.
It's like, if Daniel Bryan loses at Extreme Rules 2015, Triple H, you're gonna sleep on the couch tonight. And you're gonna be sad because I know for a fact that you are not good with your hands.
Treat that like a career on a line match or something.
Right. It's like, man, if you, Daniel, I gotta level with you, man. If you don't win this match, I'm not gonna get laid tonight. I kind of really need to get laid tonight.
And it's like, and if I win, I got 2 words for you. All right.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
No, yeah, original.
There you go. Oh man.
Oh man. Without even saying it, yeah.
Right. So we got about 6 minutes left.
Yeah, you have your
Diva of the week
from Reserve, yeah.
Yep. I thought about her last week, just when it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna give it to Natalya.
Yes, I agree. I like Natalya.
Yep. Like, Natalya, she was always a good wrestler, but she was kind of fucked over with bad gimmicks or no gimmicks.
Yeah. Like the fart gimmick.
Right, that was stupid. Why would you do that?
Right.
But thanks to Total Divas, she is starting to get a chance to blossom more. Like, she's the only Total Diva that's, a real fucking wrestler, I think.
I like that the show can help, show another layer of the personality without being a gimmick.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like, so because of that, Natalia is getting more press time,
Hmm.
and the more press you get as a wrestler, the more of a push that you'll get. So,
Right,
like,
right.
I think once they're done with Paige's little initial push here, uh, we might end up seeing Natalia as the new Divas champion for a while.
I do want her to have a run where it feels like the heel is gonna win because Natalia's just destined to be fucked over every time or something.
Right. Like, I'd even kind of like to see a seasoned Paige, like after she's been on the main roster for a while, defending her title. Like, maybe even have her like get close to break Gay J's record,
Ooh.
but then she starts to feud with Natalia,
Hmm.
but like not have a heel face feud, just kind of have Natalia's the baby face, and like she brings up NXT because she's there a lot, and she says something along the lines of, I've seen you grow a lot in NXT, but now I think it's time to face your first true test.
Right.
The best diva there is, the best diva there was, and the best diva there ever will be.
And they totally can let that happen too.
Yeah. I mean, she's a heart. She's good. She's like fucking.
That's good backing, and that should really help the Divas division even more. Cause I see they're trying a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean the matches that we've seen Paige in recently have been a lot better than the Divas matches we're used to seeing,
Right.
and we're finally getting a champion that's winning. Like they're letting her beat people. And
Yeah.
I like the storyline that they kind of given her, like they're justifying her being champion because, like, you notice the commentary was kind of putting it over a little bit.
Right.
How all of the divas in the back are looking at her like she doesn't deserve it, like it was a fluke, flash in the pan type deal. So they're basically having her systematically beat each diva one-on-one every week,
Yeah, I
and
see.
to kind of prove herself.
Yeah.
And then at Extreme Rules, she's going to be facing Tamina.
Yeah, and that's like one of the first serious times you see Tamina in a title match. I mean, she's fought other people before, but I'm glad that she's gonna get a match outside of being someone's manager.
I just hope she gets a little better. Tamina's still pretty sloppy.
Right.
And I think that's it kind of sucks because it does feel like she's got all this potential because she is a bigger diva, but she's still attractive in her own right.
Yes.
And she's got the Superfly splash. She's related to Jimmy Snuka,
It's almost like if you have a legacy, you better run with it.
I mean, she's got a move that she can use. She doesn't need to worry about, like, put it this way. She's the only person on the roster that doesn't have to worry about using a generic finishing move as a finisher
Yeah.
because it's her father's. Like, like fucking Cameron's DDT, girl bye. You remember how much shit I was talking about that.
Yeah. Even made a T-shirt
And-
for that shit.
Right. But if Cameron's father was Jake the Snake, I wouldn't be talking shit about it at all because she's using Daddy's finishing move.
So it's 10 times
But-
more effective in its own
Right.
right.
But the problem with Tamina is that her splash looks so terrible. And
Like she
for
jumping
one,
out a window or something.
well, it's not the jump, it's the landing.
Yeah.
Like her landing looks really bad.
Uh,
Like it's like she touches her knees first, like her knees hit the canvas first.
oh.
So it's like obviously not a full splash.
Uh-huh.
It's like she does more damage to her knees than she does her opponent.
I changed my mind.
Right. So I think with a little bit more conditioning, like practicing her moves a little more to make it look good, she could totally like get the fans on her side, totally get the fans pumped, get herself over, I guess.
You think they might be giving her more of a push without AJ because she obviously is a solo act now.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What I'm kind of hoping doesn't happen is that because Jimmy Snuka is under investigation right now. Because I guess he might have murdered his girlfriend back in the day,
Ooh.
and Vince may or may not have helped cover it up.
Ooh.
But yeah, but if it's discovered that Jimmy Snuka really did kill somebody, then then she might not. She might get depushed for a while, and they'll definitely drop Snuka from her name. Like it'll just be Tamina, just straight up. No mention of Snuka, no mention of her being, the daughter of a Hall of Famer, shit like that.
Damn.
But
Wrestling
I'm sure.
politics. Huh?
I mean, it's kind of justified,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think I shouldn't think too much about that. Like just kind of focus on the now.
Right. Hope for the best. Huh?
Yeah, but I'm kind of hoping the Divas division starts to pick up, and it looks like it has. So
Right.
I'm kind of excited to see what happens, especially after watching some more some old Lita versus Trish matches.
Right. Yeah.
Back when they could bleed.
Bleed and be in the main event and have
Right.
hardcore matches that people remember.
Right.
But Paige seems like the right piece on the chessboard to help the Divas
Right.
division shape up.
But I will note, which one was it? I think it was Backlash of 2004 when I watched it. It was the current women's champion Victoria versus Lita.
Right.
So we got two good female wrestlers here
Mm-hmm.
during the era of Trish and Lita.
Mm-hmm.
And Lita's one of the people in the match. But other than a couple of spots, it kind of reminded me of the watered down Divas division, like kind of thing. Like it didn't. It was really short. It ended in a roll up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like Victoria got a roll up. So it kind of like struck me as big time, like kind of like the current era. But I wasn't watching it too intently, so like I'm not gonna just straight up say that that's a fact or anything. But I guess I'll see the more pay-per-views here I watched.
Right. But
All right.
great episode.
It was a very fast episode. Shit.
Yeah.
Did we even talk about Raw? I hope we talked about Raw.
We did mention the main event, the Shield, and all of that. Did you get a chance
No.
to see NXT this week or the previous one?
This week. Yeah, I watched. God, was it the most recent episode? Oh yeah, with Brodus Clay.
Yeah.
Like wanting to take on
Adrian Neville. Yeah.
Adrian Neville for the motherfucking title. Like, it's the closest Brodus Clay is ever gonna get to a world championship.
Yeah. He might. At least he's getting towards the main event, huh?
He's a main event player on
Uh-huh.
NXT.
Right.
That reminds me too. I was thinking with TNA returnees, the WWE guys that went to TNA and came back,
Right.
the guys that won world championships over there came back, and then obviously WWE didn't acknowledge the championships. They did acknowledge the WCW championships, obviously. But here's what I'm thinking. Let's say TNA is bought by WWE at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the options would be, okay, so are they going to acknowledge the world title winners?
Oh, I
TNA
see. Like he was a former.
WWE?
He was a 5-time TNA World Champion or something.
Like, for example, Christian, isn't he, like WWE, isn't he only won the world title once, or was it twice?
I believe it was twice.
Or was it like the world championship and then the ECW championship counting as a world championship?
That's something I gotta check on.
Well, let's just say twice for the sake of argument.
Yeah.
So let's, Christian's considered a two-time world champion.
Right.
Say WWE buys TNA, and I forget how many times he won it over there. Let's say twice.
Right.
Pretty sure I don't know what it was, but let's say he won it twice. They might say that he's a 4-time world champion.
Oh,
but
I see what you're saying.
I don't think that they're going to retcon it into existence. I think instead they're going to consider it on the same level as the NXT championship, and just never mention that it was a world title that was important, but still every once in a while maybe mention it. Like oh, Christian, he comes out for his his retirement match in 2020.
Uh
It's like, Christian, his accolades are astounding. He's a 94-time Intercontinental Champion. And,
huh.
he's a 2-time World Champion, and he's actually a former TNA champion back in that TNA fucking place, whatever that
Right.
was. What was TNA?
Like
What's TNA, Maggle? What is
they
TNA?
downplay it. Yeah.
What's TNA, Maggle? What's TNA? Oh, it was a little wrestling promotion based in the South. It was run by, people we don't give a fuck about. Yay!
Director of Authority Vince Russo. Yeah.
Right. One thing that I think would be cool if they were to buy TNA is to actually, and I'm not saying do an invasion angle because, like I said, they don't even need to use the talent. Buying TNA would actually allow WWE to use an X Division championship.
Hmm.
Because the thing about it is that the Cruiserweight Championship was kind of supposed to be something like that, but
It really restricted the weight limit, but the X Division supposedly. Well,
no.
Hogan
It's
brought it back. I forget.
it's not even the weight limit. It's having a Cruiserweight title be a thing kind of says, oh, this is the title for the little guys, so have the little guys fight for this title,
Uh-huh.
So, like, introducing a Cruiserweight title would kind of just ruin everything guys like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk did,
Right.
to put the smaller guys in the main event picture.
Right.
But having an X Division title where it's not marketed as a little guy's title, it's marketed as kind of like, this extreme anything goes title like it was in early TNA.
Right.
So you have a reason for guys who, I mean, let's face it, are still gonna be little guys, but will be able to compete for a title that's not a weight limit. It's not for little guys. It's for guys who are, fucking crazy.
Right.
So introducing an X Division title in WWE would give, would give guys like
Kofi.
well, yeah, Kofi. It would give guys like Kofi, Evan Bourne, fucking
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. Yeah, Seth Rollins could be a sweet fucking. And if they actually put it on the level of a main event title, like, not to consider, like, it'd be a gimmick title. Like not a mid card title, not a main title, not a women's title, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But a gimmick title, like, you need to be this badass to compete for this title,
Right. So kind of like
Like-
the hardcore title.
Yeah, so they could, like, but not as much of a joke.
Right.
But
Right.
yes, the hardcore title was a gimmick title. You give the X Division title a certain amount of prestige and put it on guys that are in the main event,
Hmm.
and it would get the title over. Like, for example, maybe Seth Rollins will be the first WWE X Division champion,
Right.
but he was in the main event feuding for the world title, like in the year 2000, fucking, I don't know, 18 or something. I don't know.
Right.
In the future, I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Maybe he's feuding with fucking Bray Wyatt for the world heavyweight title,
Uh-huh.
and he doesn't win it, so he's all pissed off because it's WrestleMania time, and he lost his last rematch opportunity at the Royal Rumble or something. So like, the face Triple H comes out. He has the authority figure. He's like, you know what, Seth? I agree with you. Bray Wyatt's kind of being a dickhead and everything, but there's nothing really we can do because he's going to be challenging the Royal Rumble winner, Roman Reigns, in the main event of WrestleMania. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you this awesome main event player, this A-plus player. I'm going to give you a shot at a championship at fucking, let's just say it's still going to be Elimination Chamber.
Right.
So he's like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. What will it be? Will it be the Intercontinental title, or will it be the United States title if that's still around? Because I mean, those would be cool and everything, but I still kind of really want the main event title. And he's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I know you're gonna like it. So fucking, he sets up this big match. Maybe it's an Elimination Chamber match, like to give it a little bit of extra hype.
Right.
As a main event title. The only two titles on the card that have Elimination Chamber matches are the WWE title and this new title.
Right.
So they have qualifying matches to decide who's going to be in the the chamber, but Seth Rollins is already in it because he earned it.
Right.
But then you start to notice that the guys who are competing for this title are all guys who do crazy shit. Like maybe they're a mixture of the mid card guys like Kofi and stuff, but then you also have these main event guys
Like
who still do flippy shit.
RVD,
Like, maybe
RVD could be in that mix too.
yeah. I mean, like at this point he might be too old for it, but maybe RVD. Maybe you even have Daniel Bryan competing for it, even though you're gonna want 6 guys to be in the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE title too. But anyway,
Right.
once you introduce this new title, but having guys like Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, maybe
Adrian Neville.
Daniel Bryan,
Maybe.
yeah, Adrian Neville at that point might be really high up on the card. You have these guys who are considered main event guys in their own right, but they each have this particular style, and you introduce this new, X Division high flying championship, and you make a big deal out of it, then it won't seem like another fucking cruiserweight title, which is the big danger about introducing a title like that. You need to make sure right off the bat that the fans know that it's not a glass ceiling for little guys.
Yeah. 'Cause that kind of stops you from getting higher on the card. Like, it's a featherweight title. No, it's not. It's an extreme high flyer title.
Right.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's how I would try to do it. Like, obviously I'd have more time to think about it if I was actually a writer, but I'm not. This was on the spot, so if people don't agree with me, obviously I only had like 5 seconds to think it through.
Right.
But yeah, after that tirade, I think it's probably a good time to end this episode.
Agreed.
All right. Anyway, you have been listening to MAWS Talks Wrestling. We have been your hosts. I was and still am LunaKage.
I was and still am Glenburg.
And thank you guys for watching.
Peace. Good night.